G'day guys, how's it going? I'm Aaron Whitnall. This is ACW Sport, and Manchester City have won their first trophy under Pep Guardiola by beating Arsenal 3-0 in the League Cup final. They absolutely destroyed them. Goals from Sergio Aguero, Vincent Kompany, who was man of the match, and David Silva saw off Arsenal in what was one of the most comfortable finals that City will probably ever play. Because even though City were good, they probably were only in third gear pretty much the whole game. They didn't need to play that well because Arsenal just didn't show up and City made them pay and absolutely humiliated them. Now, I'm going to talk about the good first, which was Manchester City. They were awesome, even though, like I said, they only played in third gear. First things first, the first goal from Aguero was a wonderful finish, but it was embarrassing for Arsenal. We'll get onto that a little bit later on. But, you know, considering all the beautiful football that City play, the first goal they score in a final under Pep was literally route one. Claudio Bravo punting it up the pitch. It goes over Mustafi. Aguero through on goal. He lobs Ospina beautifully. And Sergio Aguero grabs his 30th goal of the season and his third in the League Cup this season. And it was just a wonderful finish from, obviously, Manchester City's talisman in Aguero. But Bravo now, a little bit embarrassing for England, now has the same amount of assists this season than Jordan Henderson. Rather embarrassing that. But look, from that point on, it was just all City, really. Arsenal didn't really produce too much. Vincent Kompany was just a man mountain. Nothing could get past him. And this is the Vincent Kompany that, for me, on his day, is the best centre-back in the world. It's such a shame that he's so injured all the time, because when he puts in performances like this, just imagine how good City would be if he was in their team all the time. For me, they'd be unbeatable, and I know that they pretty much are, even though obviously recently they have lost to Wigan and Liverpool. But, you know, with him in the team, I just don't see how anyone would be able to get past them with the way that they play and how good Kompany was yesterday. And, you know, if he's fit and goes to the World Cup, Belgium have always got a much better chance of winning it with him in the team. But, real captain's performance from him yesterday. It was great to see him back on the score sheet as well. A real kind of goal poacher's finish there, basically sticking his leg out to get on the end of what was kind of like shots firing in and around the box following a corner. But he diverted it into the goal. It was great to see the passion flowing out of him once he'd scored. And then, of course, it was all finished when David Silva rounded it up, got the third, and, you know, City strode their way to victory. So, fantastic first trophy for the Pep Guardiola era because they won it in such fashion. And obviously, they're going to tie up the Premier League in a few weeks, you'd expect. And who knows, maybe they could get themselves a treble this season as well, which would be absolutely amazing. Now, on to Arsenal. That was the most embarrassing and pathetic performance I think I have ever seen in a final. Wow. And I mean, you've only got to listen to Arsenal Fan TV or Gary Neville or Alan Shearer or pretty much anyone who watched that match to say that was humiliating. And look, it is so sad to see because Wenger is, you know, you want to love him because he's done some amazing things in football. But you do have to wonder when he will finally go and when he realises that now is the time to step down. It does make me wonder whether or not there is also a bigger problem at Arsenal with the board and whether or not that's why they're not replacing him. Maybe Wenger knows that even if they bring someone else in, nothing's going to change, so he's taking all the heat for nothing in some ways, because let's face it, his legacy is being absolutely tarnished now. This is the one trophy he's never won. They've lost the 3 finals they've been in. And, you know, they've all been under kind of embarrassing fashion, really. I mean, you know, the defeat to Birmingham, for example, with that last-minute goal with the mix-up with the defenders was awful. This one, it was just painful to watch in the end, really. And aside from Jack Wilshere, he's the only one I can defend because he was the only one that showed a bit of passion. But as I've said time and time again, Ozil goes disappearing in the big games. Ramsey's not a holding midfielder. So why they keep playing him there, I will never know. But the third goal, he was walking. Xhaka has not lived up to the hype. Mustafi's defending for that first goal was absolutely humiliating for a 36 million pound defender. Absolutely embarrassing. And people can't say Wenger hasn't spent money. He had 16 million pound Aubameyang up front. You got Ozil on 350 grand a week. Mustafi 36 million, like I just said. You know, granted, Xhaka was 35 million. So he has spent just as much as some of these other clubs have, or the big clubs have. It's just apparently he's not very good at bringing in these big money players because they're not performing. And, you know, they're supposed to be world class, but they're not showing it. And Aubameyang got no service whatsoever, so he went missing as well. And, yeah, it was just absolutely humiliating. And I'm not even an Arsenal fan. And, you know, it was painful for me to watch. It was worse than watching West Brom. And that's saying something because they've been dire this season. But that performance, it was like Arsenal were bottom of the Premier League. They were that bad. So, yeah, that's honestly everything I have to say. They face City on Thursday night. And as City score early, the scenes at the Emirates could get ugly. And I really hope they don't because I want Wenger, if he is going to step down, to go out on a high. And I hope he wins the Europa League because if he can win a European trophy and then step down, at least he's got Arsenal back in the Champions League. And there is a platform there for the next manager, whoever it is, to take over. But that's pretty much everything I have to say on the League Cup, really, without repeating myself over and over again. City were amazing. Arsenal were poor. Guardiola has now won his last 6 finals in a row without conceding, which is amazing. So if they get to the Champions League final, I know who I'm backing. But yeah, great start for trophy life under Pep, really, at Manchester City in that sense. So yeah, that was the League Cup final. Arsenal 0, Manchester City 3.